In this lecture, beyond the basic forces and moments, we are going to explain exactly what are the types of forces and how the forces are going to act and how we can calculate. Okay, so that's what we are going to explain in this particular lecture. Okay, so this is our first topic, forces and moments acting on the aircraft. Okay, so if you are having any issues, you use the chat box, so I will be able to see that comments, so I will be answered to that. Okay, so our course objectives, as I have told earlier, last lecture itself I have explained what is our course objective. So the outcome of this particular lecture is forces and moments acting on an aircraft, where student will be able to understand that how he has to calculate how the lift force and drag as well as weight and thrust force. Okay, so I have given the slide as aerodynamic forces. There are 4 types of forces are acting. So I will be asking one poll in this particular slide. So I request you to answer that poll. Okay, so I will be writing a poll in there. Kindly answer to the poll. Okay, 13 are not responded. Aman Kumar, kindly respond that. Ganesh Mohan, Lalit Sharma, response to the question. Okay, so the result shows that the question, based on the question, what are the aerodynamic forces? Many people have given all the above, right? And few people, that is near about 30 people, have answered lift and drag. And I don't know who was that one who answered thrust and weight. Two. Okay, right. So I'm closing the chat. So what exactly the aerodynamic force defines? See, even in the NASA, the image I have shown here, that is from NASA's website, they have mentioned 4 forces on an airplane. Okay, but when we are speaking about aerodynamic forces, as you have responded from the question also, in your basics, we will be learning that all the 4 forces acting on an airplane is as an aerodynamic forces, but we will be considering only the lift and drag as aerodynamic forces. Okay, since the name aerodynamics, right, it is stating that airflow of any object, the study of airflow around any object, right? So the flow of air which is interacting with the structure, either wing or fuselage, right? So it is creating a force, that is the forces are called lift and drag. Okay, but whereas the thrust force is produced from the engine. Okay, so the thrust force is called as propulsive force, so it is not classified under aerodynamic forces, and the weight is called as gravitational force. Okay, so before, as a basic, I hope the faculty might have said that 4 forces on the airplane, aerodynamic forces, simply they might have used. But when you are coming into the flight mechanics concept, you should know that lift and drag is categorized as aerodynamic forces, and thrust is categorized as propulsive force, and weight is categorized as gravitational force. Okay, so instead of sometimes if you see some research articles or some latest books, right, instead of saying that 4 forces on an airplane, they will mention that 3 forces are acting on an airplane. Okay, so what are the 3 forces? Aerodynamic force, propulsive force, and gravitational force. So under aerodynamic forces, the lift and drag will be classified. Okay, so I hope hereafter, whenever you are studying or you are reading anything, you have to look in the such a way that lift and drag is categorized as aerodynamic force, and thrust and weight will be categorized as propulsive as well as gravitational respectively. Okay, so lift force. See why I'm here to explain, like even though you might have studied in your principle of flight, right? So the past semesters from my experience, right, as a faculty, from my experience, I have seen the exam papers of your seniors, right? So I'm not discouraging them; they are best in their particular area. But even though these forces and moments, which is a basic concept which needs for an aerospace engineer, right, for throughout his life. Okay, so you should know how the forces is done and the direction of forces, right? You should know what are the direction. Even in the someone semester student has written like thrust will be acting opposite direction through the forward flight. Okay, so you should make clear what are the forces and which direction it is acting and at which point it is acting. So that is the most important thing. Okay, so in the flight mechanics, the forces and moments are taken care for airplane performance as well as stability and control. Okay, so what is the lift force? Yes, everyone knows that to overcome the weight force, right, we have to generate the lift so that the aircraft can fly, right? So lift is an aerodynamic force, that is, aero stands for air and dynamic stands for motion, right? So when the air flows over the aircraft, okay, so over the aircraft, so the lift force will be generated. So many basic concepts have given that only wing will be generating the lift, but as on flight mechanics, right, in the flight mechanics subject or flight mechanics course, and if you are going for a flight test engineer also, you should know that only the wing is not producing the lift. Each and every structure of aircraft, outer structure, right, so that which is uh, flying in the air and the air is moving around the structure, it will produce the aerodynamic force. Okay, so let's say if we are seeing that aircraft fuselage. So let me switch on my camera so that you can watch it over. Right. So I hope you can see that model aircraft. So the aircraft is there. So when it is flying, right, the air is around each and every structure of the aircraft, right? So people used to say that in the basic, right? So they will be speaking about uh, how the wing, right? How the wing is developing and helping for the lift force. Okay, but the fuselage structure, right, that will also provide small amount of lift. Okay, so when I am speaking about contribution of lift, right, the contribution of lift force for the entire aircraft, it will be provided by fuselage, wing, and even engine. Okay, engine nacelle and even tailplane. Okay, so all the structures will provide the lift force. Okay, when the air is around the structures, it will provide the lift force. But the if we see majority, right, majority contribution, like 90% of the lift force was generated due to the wing. Okay, so for basic understanding purpose, we kindly wait for 1 second. It is reconnecting again. Yes. Okay. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to say. If 90% of lift was produced by the wing, right, and the fuselage is contributing, let's say 1%, right? So the contribution is there. Anyhow, the contribution is there. So when we are using thrust vectoring, in the aircraft, right? So we can control the motion of the aircraft even with the vertical takeoff or vertical descent. Okay, so vertical takeoff or vertical descent. So in vertical takeoff, if we are using a thrust vectoring or tilting, wing tilting, then wing is not producing. Okay, so the component when the aircraft is flying, make clear that the 90% of lift contribution was generated by the aircraft wing, and remaining parts will generate a few contribution to the lift. Okay, but overall, for better understanding, they will be saying the basic thing that wing alone producing the lift contribution. Okay, so the second one is the third point. Sorry, the third point is lift is directed perpendicular to the flight direction. Okay, so I hope you can see my model aircraft, right? So if the flight path is like this, if the flight path is like this and it is stable means like it is in cruising condition, and lift is equal to weight and thrust is equal to drag. Okay, so lift is equal to weight, thrust is equal to drag. So when the aircraft is going like this, right, and the flight path is like that, the straight line, we can say flight path. Okay, so our lift will be acting exactly perpendicular to that. Okay, our lift will be acting exactly perpendicular to the flight path. Okay, so that's what they are meaning, that whenever the flight, if the flight is in the climb direction, right, so flight path is like this, right, the flight is going like this, the flight path is like this, but the perpendicular, right, the perpendicular force, the lift force will be acting perpendicular to the flight path. Okay, right. So the next thing is my voice is not that much audible. I will give you the chat option. You just mention if you are having my voice issues. I'm in the faculty. I'm in the department only. Okay, audible. So kindly ensure that audible. Yes, audible. Kindly check your internet connection, please. See, from my point of view, the internet connection is good only, and I'm department only, so it is good from today onwards. So kindly check your internet connection. Okay, so I'm switching on the chat again, right? Okay, okay. So when the flight is climbing, right, when the aircraft is in climb also, the force will be always acting perpendicular to the flight path. Okay, so remember that. So the next point is the location where the lift force will be acting, the particular point called center of pressure. Okay, so center of pressure, what is mean by center of pressure, right? So everyone knows what is center of gravity. So for an entire aircraft, the weight will be acting on a certain point, right? Certain point. Let's assume this is the point, right? So the point where the entire weight is, and we can balance the aircraft with that point, we will be calling it as center of gravity, right? So what is mean by center of pressure? So especially as the fourth point said, but most aircraft lift is generated by the wings, right? As I told earlier also, the most of the lift was generated with respect to the lift force. Okay, so with respect to the wing, okay, so the aircraft acts through a single point called center of pressure. So if you see the cross sectional area of the wing, right, if you see the cross sectional area of the wing, okay, so what will happen, we will be having aerodynamic center, and we will be having a center of pressure where the whole pressure of that particular wing will be concentrated at one point, right? So that's why we have given the statement like the center of pressure is defined as just like the center of gravity, but using the pressure distribution around the body instead of weight distribution. Okay, so you should understand the difference between the center of gravity of aircraft as well as center of pressure of wing. Okay, when I am speaking about center of gravity of an entire aircraft, it includes fuselage and other parts. Okay, but when I am saying center of pressure of wing alone, right? Center of pressure of wing alone means it depends only upon the wing structure. Okay, so you have to be very much clear what the statement is given. Okay, so center of gravity is given with respect to the aircraft, and center of pressure we are speaking about with respect to the wing alone. Okay, we are not speaking with respect to entire aircraft. Okay, right. So the next point, it is drag. sorry, weight. Okay, so after weight we will be going for thrust and drag. Okay, right. So weight. I hope you can see the screen again. Right? Am I audible clearly? Yes. Okay. Okay, dear. Right. Uh, so here the weight force is acting towards the center of earth. Okay, so towards center of earth is, we know that it is acting on the point of center of gravity and towards center of earth. So our earth will be, is earth is a planet, right? So our earth will be spherical in shape and it is revolving around the sun and it is rotating itself also, right? So the one of the important factor is why we are saying that it is always directed to the center of earth. Okay, suppose the aircraft is flying, so center of gravity is here and weight force is acting, right? So let's say our earth is like this. Okay, so the earth will be having some particular center of gravity, right? A center of earth point, right? Center of earth point will be there. So what exactly the weight force will be doing is, it will be always directed to the center of earth. Okay, so I will try to draw one diagram also so that you can easily understand that. Okay, I won't disable the chat, you can use the function. Right. So I'm just drawing what I'm trying to explain is, so let's say center of earth. Okay. So this point is center of earth considered, right? Let's say C, and if the aircraft is flying over here, okay. So the weight will be always acting towards the center of earth point. Okay. Suppose if the flight is going like this, right? So the center of weight will be acting like this. Okay. So if the aircraft is flying like this, the weight will be always acting towards the center of earth. Okay, right. So the magnitude of force depends on the mass of all the airplane parts. I told, so each and every aircraft parts is having some particular weight, right? Let's say pilot, a passenger weight, right? People, baggage, freight, and amount of fuel, right? Any other payloads, right? So that is also one of the important factor when we are speaking about overall weight. Okay, so overall weight will be considered with respect to amount of fuel and amount of any other payloads also. Okay, so the weight is distributed throughout the airplane, yes, because at the center of gravity we have to balance them, right? So we have to balance the aircraft. So that's why the weight is distributed throughout the airplane. But we can often think of it is collected and acting through a single point called center of gravity. I hope that you are very well known about that, right? So suppose if the airplane rotates about the center of gravity, but the direction of weight force always remains towards the center of gravity. That is, if the aircraft is going for, with respect to center of gravity, let's consider the place which I am holding is the center of gravity. So if the aircraft is going for pitch of moment, so it is providing a rotational motion, okay, right? So angular acceleration and angular velocity will be there. If pitch down, there will be there. So if it is rolling, there will be a rotational movement. Okay. So whatever the motion, if the aircraft is rotating or pitching up or pitching down or yaw movement, right? So the weight force will always act towards the center of air. Okay. So even the aircraft fuel consumption is also happening. So whenever we are going for aircraft design, we should consider the aircraft weight. That is the first priority. We have to calculate the entire aircraft weight before entering into the aircraft design. Okay. So the next one is drag. So drag is the opposite force, and it is the resistance force for the aircraft. As I told for, right? So the same will be applicable in the aircraft also. Sorry, in the drag also, drag force. So drag force, the entire aircraft, even fuselage, landing gear, engine, right? Engine, wing, vertical fin, and horizontal stabilizers. So this, every part of the aircraft will play a major role for the drag. So previously you might have learned the primary drags, right? So in your principle of flight, you might have learned the primary drags. So in this particular session, particular course, we'll be learning with respect to the secondary drag also. Okay. So there are some types of secondary drag is available. In your chapter 2, I will explain more about the secondary drag, which you have never heard in your principle of flight. Okay. So those drag is also playing a major role in creating the opposition force. Okay. So components, fuselage, wing, and every structure, whatever the structure it is extending, that structure is creating a drag also. As well as it is producing for lift, it will be for the drag also. Right. So thrust force is to overcome the drag. We will be used to say that thrust force is to overcome the drag, but where it will be acting, right? So here comes the important point. In previous in your basics, you might have learned like this. So there will be a point. We will be drawing drag, thrust, lift, and weight, right? So with respect to one point, we will be drawing that, right? So with respect to one point, we will be drawing. For better understanding, we have given that type of statement that lift will be acting upward and thrust and weight will be acting from the single point. Okay, but in when we are speaking about flight mechanics, the entire course is related with handling the forces and moments, right? So you should know at which location the thrust line will be there, and which location the drag will be there, and which location the lift will be there, and which location the weight will be there. So as earlier we have told, the lift and drag will be acting on the center of pressure, and weight will be acting at the center of gravity. Where will be the thrust acting? So that's what the question before you might have learned from a single point, right? So if the engine is placed under the wing, so you just see the diagram, right hand side. So we are having two diagrams, the top one with jet engine and the bottom one with the propeller, right? So if the propeller is placed over here and the midpoint of the hub, right, and the midpoint of the hub, the thrust will be acting, right? So if the jet engine placed under the wing, right, let me change the color. So the thrust force in the jet engine will be acting from here. Okay. So that particular line, that particular point or axis, we can say reference axis, we can say line of thrust. Okay. So the line of thrust is indicating that if in case of propeller driven engine, right, so it will be acting at the center of the propeller, right, propeller hub. Okay. So this is the hub. So it will be acting at the hub, and in case of a jet engine, so if I'm seeing front view, right? If I'm seeing from front view, so I will be having a circular from the front view. Okay, jet engine front view. I'm just showing over here. So the front view will be having a circular pattern, and the center. I'm not drawn the center. Sorry. So I'm just drawing roughly. So the center point, right? So the center point, if I am drawing that, the line of thrust will be emerging from there only. Okay. So make clear yourself, the lift and drag will be from center of pressure, right? Weight will be center of gravity, and thrust will be from the thrust, line of thrust. Okay, from the placement of engine, where the engine is located. Okay. So that's what it will be explained in the second point. The direction of force depends upon how the engines are attached to the aircraft. Suppose the model is here, right? So if the aircraft is here, just look into my camera, my video. Okay. So here engine is placed over here. So the center point, right? From there, the line of thrust will be acting, and it will be acting forward to the flight motion. Okay. So that's what it is given in the second point. And in the third point, so sea carrier, I hope you might have heard about the Indian Navy, and every nation's Navy will be having aircraft carriers or sea carriers, they will be mentioning. So where you will be required for shorter takeoff and shorter landing, right? The sea carrier will be around a length of 800 meters to 2 kilometers, not even 2 kilometers, 1.5, right? 1.5 kilometer, let's say. So if the landing was done, right, and they have to take off from the shorter runway itself, then think about the thrust variation during landing and during takeoff. How much thrust is required for the shorter takeoff, and how much thrust reduction has to be done during landing. Okay. So one of the important factor is LCA, light combat aircraft, right? Our Tejas. So in the last year, when Tejas has applied for Indian Navy didn't approve that Tejas because of that is not having a shorter runway takeoff and landing ability. Okay. So later they have resolved that, and they have gone for arresting landing, but arresting landing is not going to help in every time. Okay. So if it is a critical situation, the arresting land won't help. So that's why still that Navy is working on that, and LCA team is also working on that. Okay. So thrust force, make clear that it depends upon placement of engine. Okay. Location of engine also. Right. So control surfaces, I hope everyone knows that. So I'm not explaining much about these control systems, and only I just want to give the review of how the pilot will control. So if you see the right hand side, yes, I will see that when you are raising hand, I can able to see. But I need to cover the syllabus. Already it was half an hour, so I will give you time at the last 5 to 10 minutes. So we will discuss about that. Okay, don't worry. Okay, right. So in the B point, right? In the B point, that is the control column, right? Pilot's control column that was given over here in the right side image. Okay. So when the pilot is pushing and pulling back the control column, right? He can control the elevator. Okay. He can control the elevator. When he is turning towards left and right, if he is turning to the left and right, he can control the ailerons, right? There are two pedals. So when he is pushing the pedal, left side pedal, the rudder will be turning to the left side. So the aircraft will also turn to left. That is yaw movement. Okay. So the aircraft will give the yaw movement in the left hand side. When the pilot is pressing the right hand pedal, the aircraft will provide the right side yaw movement. Okay. So similarly, the other control surfaces will also work. So apart from that, the pitching, rolling movement is also given over here. I hope you know that very well. So I'm just skipping those parts. Yes. So the important flight path. Okay. So the forces and movements, basically you know that very well. So apart from that, the basic flight path, as you can see in the image, right? So the basic flight path is given with respect to takeoff, climb, cruise, descent. There is a term called loiter and landing. Okay. So what is that loiter indicates? So the loiter is nothing but when the pilot is want to land in any airport, okay, any airport, but ATC is not approving, air traffic control is not approving because of, let's say, heavy traffic was in the runway. So the ATC will request the pilot to go for a loiter. Loiter is nothing but the pilot has to rotate particular city or particular limit. Okay, with respect to altitude, he has to rotate once or twice depending upon the traffic time. Okay, so that particular time is called as loitering around the city or loitering the airport. Okay, depending upon the location. Okay, so I hope you can clearly understand what is loiter. So this is the very basic flight path of an passenger airplane. Okay, so as airplane performance, what we are going to study is, in the overview also I have told, takeoff, how the takeoff will be there, how much thrust is required, how much velocity is required, how the friction will be acting between the aircraft and the runway, right? How much lift force we have to generate during takeoff, and how much the angle of climb will be required once we started to climb, and how the angle of climb is affecting the thrust. So that we will be studying in the climb. And in cruise, we will be studying about majorly we will be studying about range and endurance. Okay, so how much minimum thrust is required, how much maximum velocity is required, so that we will be studying in the cruise. And during descent, so descent is nothing but gliding also. So once we are gliding or descending, we will be studying about how the thrust is going to act during the descent, how the weight is acting, how the lift is acting, and drag correspondingly, and range of glide also we will be learning. And once again, landing, right? So during landing, how the pilot has to control during landing. So those factors we will be learning in this entire course. But before that, you should be remembering the basic flight path of passenger airplane. In case of military aircraft or any other mission aircraft, so the cruising phase will be changing. Okay, the altitude will be changing, the maneuvering will be changing. We have not included pull up and pull down maneuvering also in this flight path. It is just a basic flight path. Okay, so whenever you are flying next time, you can visualize that. Okay. So major components of an aircraft, I hope you know that, but I have classified in this with three types: piston engine, turboprop engine, and turbojet engine. So the piston engine over here, the image is given with respect to Hansa aircraft. Hansa aircraft is developed by HAL, and it was in IIT Kanpur also. Okay, for study purpose they have given, and for flight test they are using this. Okay, so Hansa is that, and in case of turbo propeller, I have shown here with respect to Saras aircraft. NAL Saras. Okay, SA. Yes. So if you are free, you can Google that also. So if you see the placement of engine, right? So that is a different type of placement. So those who have already came to Aero India show in the last year, they would have seen this Saras aircraft, because they have tested that during the Aero India also, so that the particular authorities like Airport Authority of India and others can visualize how the Saras is working on that. So the placement of engine is very much different compared to other aircrafts. Okay, so how the performance is to be there, because the engine is not placed under the wing and the propeller is not placed in the forward position, it is kept in the aft position, right? So the performance, there are some performance criteria when we are comparing with a similar type of turbo propeller engine. So we will be studying in this particular chapter how to find the turboprop engine performance and piston engine performance, as well as the jet engine performance also. Okay, so these three things we will be studying. So one of the important thing in this image, right, why I have included the images, to understand the fuselage reference line. Okay, every image will be having, every view will be having fuselage reference line. Okay, so you can see in every image fuselage reference line. So what is that fuselage reference line is? You can see from the top view itself, the the left hand side and the right hand side of the radar. Okay, so if you see from the left view or right view, whatever it was, depending upon that. So a straight line which will be starting from the nose to tail, right? So that will be taken as the fuselage reference line. Okay, FRL. So most probably in airplane performance as well as in stability and control, we'll be using this fuselage reference line. So make sure you know that in upcoming days also. Okay. So body system, I will explain in the next topic along with other factors also how the body axis system will be working. And flat earth concept, yes, we are taking with a flat earth model, comparing the flat earth model and spherical earth model. So during the weight calculation, I have told you, right, when I am speaking about weight, so the weight will be always acting towards the center of earth, right? So as shown in the spherical model, spherical earth model, right? So there is a difference between that calculation which we are taking with flat earth model and spherical earth model. Okay, so the flat earth model will give you the approximate approx value. Okay, whereas the spherical earth model will give you the accurate. Okay, so accurate value of finding airplane performance can be we can get from spherical earth model, but as a basic bachelor degree, right, we can go for the flat earth model itself. Okay, so your GATE exam and other ISRO exam also, it is based on the questions will be framed with basics from flat earth model. So that's why in the entire course it was framed with flat earth model only. Flat earth model means this is the surface of the earth. Okay, so it is given surface of the earth. So when it is a flight path, consider this is a flight path. Okay, so if the flight path is there, the weight will be always acting perpendicular to the earth surface. Okay, so this is a flat earth concept, and in spherical earth concept it will be acting towards the center of earth, but the problems which we want to derive with respect to spherical earth model is dynamic, and it will be used for once if we are going for research purpose, but for basic understanding we will be going with the approximate calculation of flat earth model, where the same is followed in NPTEL lecture also as well as in IIT's bachelor degree also. Okay, so with this I am ending the session for today. So if you have any queries, you can speak up. I will give you the access of audio, so you can ask the doubt. Okay, so if you have any queries, you can.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, dear.
Sir, can you explain again flat path of passenger?
Sorry, I cannot understand what you are saying here.
Okay, that's good. Flight path of passenger.
Flight path of passenger. Okay, so I will go to that.
Yes, sir. Can you explain again?
Yes, I will go to that particular slide. Okay.
Yes, sir. This one.
Yeah. So this is the basic flight path. Okay, where you might have when you are coming from Bangladesh to here, right? You might have experienced this also. So the pilot initially will be in the airport, in the ground, that is doing the takeoff, right? So once the takeoff was done successfully, the pilot will go for a steady climb. Okay, so that's why we have not given any disturbance in the climb. This image is just showing that it is a steady climb. Okay, so the climb force is acting steadily and it is taking up steadily. Okay, so there is no deviation, there is no pitch up or pitch down movement. So it is going steadily, and after particular altitude, the aircraft will go for a cruising movement, which even where you are traveling from Mumbai to Chandigarh or Chennai to Chandigarh, the most of the time we will be spending in the flight is in the cruising condition. Okay, so there might be some variation in altitude, but the most of the time we will be flying in the cruising condition. So when the destination is came, so we will start to descend at particular altitude. So we will be identifying how much the altitude is required also. And before landing, if the airport is having a heavy traffic, the ATC will communicate to the pilot, and they will request the pilot to loiter the entire city or loiter nearby the airport. Okay, so particularly the pilot will revolve around the city or near to the airport at an altitude. Okay, so when the traffic is clear in the ground, then the ATC will request the pilot. So up to that time, the pilot will be loitering, then he will be landing. Okay, so this is the basic flight path.
Oh, okay, sir.
Next. What is the arresting landing, sir? Okay, so arresting landing is nothing but in sea carriers they will be using some hooks. Hooks will be placed in the tail part of the aircraft, fighter aircraft. Even in the LCA they have did that. During the land, the hook will come out. There will be another rope etc., which is made of steel. Okay, so the hook will fix along with the it will took the string and then it will be stopped. The string will pull the aircraft and the thrust will be reduced and it will be stopped. So you just Google it so that you can get much idea about how the arresting landing will do. What is lighter, sir? That's what I have told. Lighter is nothing but when the pilot is going to land in particular aircraft, particular airport. So if the airport is having traffic, doing other aircrafts may be taking off or other aircrafts may be landing. So the ATC will request the pilot to go for a lightering. The name itself lightering. So just the pilot has to revolve around the airport, rotate around the city. Okay, he will be flying. It will be flying in a particular altitude. Okay, so that is called as lightering. Anything else, dear?